welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I am here to do a book review for The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. I posted a poll on Twitter asking you guys if you wanted to see an own voices review of this book, and the overwhelming majority said yes. So yeah, I'm here to review it, and I am just so excited to talk about this book and my non-spoilery thoughts on it, because it is not only one of my favorite books of 2019, it is number one as of right now. It's also one of my new favorite books of all time. And it made just such an impact on me that I will never forget it. So without me rambling on any further, let's jump right in and get started. Starting off with the overall plot of this book, if you guys are not familiar with the story, it is an adult romance book following our main character Stella, who is on the autism spectrum. She has a high-functioning form of autism known as Asperger's syndrome, or as is now known as autism spectrum disorder. And she basically is very book smart, and she just hasn't had the best luck in the bedroom department, and she has this overwhelming pressure from her parents to get married and have kids. And at this point, Stella has just had enough of it. So she hires an escort named Michael, who teaches her the way of sex and fake relationships, and it takes off from there. This has the fake relationship trope. It's done really, really well, and it has just so many elements that I love. So now with the synopsis, let's jump into my actual thought. Starting off with the characters in this book were just overall really great. I will talk more about this when I talk about the representation in this book at the end of the review, but I saw so much of myself in Stella because, as I mentioned, I'm on the spectrum myself. I, deal with this every single day, and, little things here and there, like, people, at least from my personal experience, and again, I'm speaking from my own personal experience in this review, I, have little obsessions here and there, and I've struggled in having relationships in the past, and this is definitely something, again, that Stella experiences in this book. And it was just something that I felt like I could finally see a character that I could truly, truly connect with in a way, or a new adult contemporary, I guess you could say. It was amazing. I also loved Michael. I think Michael had something about him that was just so charming, and I liked how he never rushed the relationship and he took his time with Stella. So overall, both of the main characters were absolutely amazing. Diving into the romance, I am not much of a romance reader. I do not like reading primarily romance heavy books. I don't read contemporary very often, but this one, I was like, steamy would be one way to put it. It was very steamy and very fluffy, but I think it was extremely well written. I don't or haven't read a lot of books with a lot of sex scenes in them in the past. I've read maybe 3 series, or started 3 series that had sex scenes in them, but I knew going in that this was going to be very sex positive and have some steamy scenes. I knew that going in. I had no problem with it at all. And this is definitely a book with the best written sex scenes I've ever read. So yeah, I really love the romance. Again, it didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel forced. I loved how Michael took his time with Stella and was very patient and understanding, even though he didn't know exactly why she was the way she was at the beginning of the novel, and just slowly over time learned about being on the spectrum and how that plays into sex in this book. So I really love the romance. And into plot, it's not normally a big thing in contemporary romance. So there was a little bit of a plot. It was just more of the progression of Stella and Michael's relationship, which is, again, something that's in almost every single romance book that I ever read. And yeah, it was enjoyable. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about is definitely the most important to me in this book, and that is just the representation of autism in this novel. Again, this is own voices from the author's perspective, and like I mentioned earlier, you could see that she put so much heart and so much soul into writing her own experiences into Stella's character. And as somebody who is on the spectrum, I can really respect that. I've talked about this in videos before. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome 3 years ago this past March, and it was not really a huge shock to me at the time, because I won't go into too much detail about it here. I'll maybe talk about it in a different video, but it was something that we always had in the back of my minds, my parents and I. And then, I was wondering, would I ever be able to find a character in a romance novel or YA contemporary novel who, deals with the same situation I do, or like with dealing with being on the spectrum, or being epileptic, or being plus size, We don't see that often. And this book really did it. It just checked off the autism spectrum representation right off the bat, and I knew it was going to be like that going in, and I had a feeling in the back of my mind that I was going to love this book, and I really did. And if you are looking for things or books that have really good autism spectrum representation, this novel will blow your minds. Just check it out, please. I beg of you. I loved it. Overall, my thoughts on this book are, as you can tell, overwhelmingly positive. It will always have a special place in my heart. I do already have the sequel on my TBR. I just got it from Book of the Month, so I will definitely be checking it out in the near future. And I highly, highly recommend you guys pick this novel, even if you're not a romance reader like I am. This one will be one of my all-time favorite books, one of my all-time favorites of any genre, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, if you guys couldn't tell already. Everything gonna happen with this video, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below if you guys have read The Kiss Quotient and what you thought of it, so I would love to know. And as always, all my social media links I'll link down below, along with a link to where you guys can buy this book for yourself if you're interested in checking that out. And all being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you soon for another video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!